y'all. We are back. And by we, I mean the Virgos, minus one. Um, but we got, some stuff to talk about today. Um, there was a young lady on the TikTok and young black woman, and she says that black men, she asked the question, should black men hold other black men accountable? And by accountable, she means accountable to how they handle black women, how they handle, the political scope of what's going on in America, feminism, racism, misogyny, all of those things. And we got some opinions on that. I know I do. And if you have some opinions, please put it in the comments. Also, tell all your friends, like, share, and subscribe. So let's get into it. So, Sherrod, can you play a little bit of the clip or
Yeah, I play a little bit of it.
okay?
Let me
And
see.
now
Let's
this
see.
lady is long-winded, y'all, but I get what she's trying to say.
I saw somebody one time on here say that if slavery only affected black women, the slaves would have never been freed. And I don't even know how to put into words how wholeheartedly and emphatically I believe that. Most black men don't give a fuck about equality. They don't give a fuck about freedom. They just want their freedom to act like white men and subjugate black women the way white men subjugate black women. And I clocked that at like 5 years old. Like, I have noticed my entire life how black men regard black women is fucked. Completely fucked. And so a bunch of people jumping on Deontay Kyle, who, by the way, in every single episode, he is on black people's necks to do better. This is not a new take from him. But everybody wants to be on his neck now because he's saying that men need to hold other men accountable, which is true. And they're on his neck because they don't want to hold other men accountable for abusing women. They just want their chance to abuse women. And they're mad because they don't get as many chances as these other men do to subjugate and control and dominate women. They don't give a fuck about us. I regard black men the same way I regard white people. Sketchy, 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 op, stay away from me. They're dangerous as fuck. And in my experience, like, and I'm not saying that white men are inherently safer, because we all know who they are. Family annihilators and shit. But in my experience, when I'm out in public, and this has been the case since I was a little girl, it's not white men catcalling me. It's not white men making inappropriate comments about my body and trying to lure me to their car. White men don't do that to me. To me. I don't know what anybody else's experience was, or is. But a lot of these black dudes act animalistic as fuck. They act like breeders. They act like they act like lust demons. They're lustful as shit, and I'm not attracted to it. I don't like that dick first mentality. Like, and so they're not going to hold abusive men accountable because in their mind, they have the rights to treat black women however they feel like it in the moment because in their mind, they own us because we are black women.
Basically, it's the same old.
Okay, so what you think? What do you think about what she said?
I mean, when she starts speaking about the feminism part, she got to realize white women created feminism based on the white men that she's holding in such high regard, you know. But in one breath, she said white people are sketchy, 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 op. They're family annihilators, so they're these bad people. And then black men are the same. It's, I had a conversation with someone about this right here, and about holding black men accountable. Now, the way it was stated, it came off as if we should hold all black men accountable, right? So that's what I disagree with. I can't hold all black men accountable for all their actions. I could just hold the men around me accountable for their actions, right? And abusers, as I was trying to say, abusers are not the kind of people that's gonna come out, hey bro, man, I just beat the shit out of my girl, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that things are happening until you see it visually. I've never had a dude, man, I beat my woman up. I've never heard that. Now I've heard pimps say it, but I've never heard a man come out their mouth and say, yeah, I abused my woman. I beat her. I kick her ass. Right? Nope. There was one. And I ain't hang out with that motherfucker. I worked with him. And it was like, you do what? And it's like, it blows my mind. Like, we were at the plant, and he said, yeah, man, my wife did X, Y, and Z, man. I took my belt off, and I'm like, what the fuck? Everybody looking at this dude like, but that's not my man's. That's not somebody I fuck around with on a daily basis. I work with you. You're an associate. Now, if one of my dudes was to say that, I'd be like, bro, the fuck type of time you on? You know what I'm saying? So, for her to say that black men just want to control black women, right? Because remember, earlier when we was listening to it, she said that she was talking to another black man that said if he wanted to tell his wife to quit working, she'd stop just like that. Right? But at the same time, when black men say, go 50-50 with me. What you mean? You ain't a real man if I got to go 50-50. Wait a minute, I'm giving you liberation. I'm giving you that equality. I'm giving you all those things you asked for. So I don't know what her experiences is, because she said at 5 years old, she was recognizing these things at 5, at 5. She was.
Well, I feel her on some of the things because I'm a woman and I've had very negative experiences with black men. The only experiences that I have had with, the only experiences that I have had with men have been black men, because that's, who I've been around my whole life. But I remember, my dad owned a restaurant and I worked as a cashier in the restaurant. And everybody else who worked in the restaurant was a man. And I remember the conversations that they had were always berating women. Always. And I remember, and I was like, I was like 14, 15 years old. And I remember thinking to myself, damn, am I fucking invisible? It was almost like I wasn't in the room. And at that young age, I remember how those conversations used to make me feel, how it impacted me. Like, damn. And my father was included in this. Their perception of women, based on the conversations that I overheard, was almost like we were beneath them and they didn't give a fuck about us, for real. These are based on things that I heard on a regular basis at that restaurant. So much so that it made me not want to be there anymore. Number one, because when I hear men, and when I heard those men, and my father in particular, talk about women, I thought about all of the women in my life, my mother, my sister, my aunts, my grandmother, who I loved and respected and did not view that way. And I remember thinking, well, what have they done to y'all to make y'all think this way about women? And I remember thinking at that young age, these are some hoe ass niggas, my father included, because it was all bullshit based on them not receiving something that they felt like they should receive. Like they talked about us, Sherrod, like we wasn't shit, like we were nothing. And that kind of informed how I would view my father from there on out. Because if you are talking about women in front of me in this way, that means that you devalue me. You don't value me either. I was invisible in that moment. So that means to you, I wasn't nothing. So that informed how I would view him and how our relationship would progress over the years. And eventually, I stopped fucking with him because this nigga wasn't right. Um, every person who has ever hurt me in a horrible, despicable, traumatic way has been a Black man. I've been abused by Black men. And these are men who look like me, come from the same tribe, I guess, as me. They Black men. And I was under the impression until I had those experiences with my dad that Black men in particular, were supposed to protect. I have never been in a situation, well, I had not been in a situation where I had been protected by a Black man until I was well into adulthood. Prior to that, it was always abuse, belittlement. And I'll give you an example. One day, me and my friends, a group of my girlfriends, we had a run club, and we would go out to Belle Isle and run. You know, we was getting our fitness on. And none of us was a perfect 10, but, you know, we was still taking care of our physical selves. We ran past a group of men, Black men. Now, you could tell that we was working out. We were running with run gear on. We got, you know, water bottle strapped to us, all that shit. A group of Black men began to talk about us like we was dogs, like they were judging our physical appearance, calling us bitches. Look at this bitch. You know, just, I mean, it was fucked up. It was fucked up. And I remember thinking that me and my homegirls talked about this after. We kept running. But damn, you see us out here running. We don't get no encouragement. Like, if you have something to say, why it can't be encouraging words? Why does it have to be belittle, berate, talk about us like we ain't shit? I mean, they talked about us from head to toe. And these are Black men. And that was fucked up. But I believe what she said when she said, if slavery involved Black women, we would still be enslaved. I believe that 100%, because it has not been my experience, Sherrod, where on a large scale, on a grand scale, that Black men have had our backs. And even on an individual scale, the men who were supposed to protect me in my life, the Black men, have not done so. They have done a piss poor job of that. And part of the reason is when they get into these cliques with their homeboys and their brothers, well, it has been my experience. When they get into these cliques with their homeboys and their homeboys and their brothers either don't choose to or don't know to call them to the carpet. At some point, this fucked up ideology or this fucked up relationship between Black men and Black women and how Black men treat Black women has to be addressed by other Black men, because it's been my experience, Black men don't listen to Black women in that way, but they listen to their homeboys, they listen to their uncles, they listen to their brothers. So if there is somebody in their circle that says, hold up, what the fuck? Then all the other little circles in the world would, the negative banter and the negative opinions of Black women would begin to dissipate on a grand scale. Because you said that, you know, you gonna call your homeboy to the carpet if that's your man's.
But if it's see, everybody that I've spoken to about this topic makes it a one-sided solution. It is not.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you an example. My experience with black women was so bad, I was just gonna stop dealing with black women altogether. I was headed
Mhm.
to every other race besides black women,
Mhm.
right? And I don't want to do, the tit for tat for thing. I'm just saying that we both can speak on bad experiences, right?
Mhm.
You know, and when it comes to just people in general, women, men, you got bad men and women who happen to be black, and you got
Mhm.
good black men and women, right? And to be totally honest with you, I've heard the negative conversations about black men from a child all the way up. That's all you
Mhm.
heard. Black men ain't shit. Black men ain't shit. Ain't shit. And that's what you hear day in and day out. Okay. Then you can hear these black bitches ain't shit. Woo 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 woo. Each side is saying the same thing, and
Mhm.
that's based on each side when it comes to relationships, because you can't pick your parents and you can't pick the people in your family, right?
Mhm.
But when I hear the black men and the black women talking about each other, because I can go ham on black women right now and just say from experience, boom 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 boom. But all the negative things that ever happened to me with black women in my life was based on who I picked. I'm gonna take the accountability for the women that I picked, had children with, and had issues with, right? And it is what it is. But what I did find out is that every black woman is not like the ones I had trouble with,
Mhm.
right? And when it comes to fixing the imagery that we have of one another, because guess
Mhm.
what? It is some black women out there that ain't shit, that stank ass bitches, and there's some niggas out there that's hoe ass niggas the whole night. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All black women aren't to be respected because they don't respect themselves. All black men don't need respect because they don't respect themselves. Respect is one of those things that's earned. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care your color, none of that stuff. Respect is a thing that has to be earned across the board, and it's based on your character and it's based on who you are. And when I hear black women need to be respected because we are the mothers, and it's like no 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 no
But
no.
when it comes to accountability though, um, like I really feel like that only a black man can call another black man to the carpet.
But here's the thing, you're 1,000% correct. And what most black women don't hear are the conversations that black men have with one another. We don't broadcast it because
Mhm.
in my clique right now you know all this shit I talk on the internet, right? All that shit,
Mhm.
right? If I ever said something that was like totally just fucked up, and or I lied, and I'm gonna get a phone call,
Mhm.
and I know it's gonna be one of several, nigga, what's wrong?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or I've said some things, and then, bruh, you all right? Oh yeah, man, I'm just woo, woo, woo. It's like because the most of my conversations or posts on the internet, it's not based on my life. I just read other posts and I comment on those posts.
Mhm.
So when I explain that to the homies, they say, "Okay, bro, we thought you was going through some stuff."
Mhm.
So we hold each other accountable. Every group has to hold the people in their group accountable.
Mhm.
What that looks like, I don't know. It's going to differ from group to group to group. And it's also going to be based on how you raise.
Yeah,
Now,
because I was gonna say, every group does not have the wherewithal or the mental capacity to hold somebody accountable if they ignorant. You know, so it could be a group of ignorant motherfuckers who in
That's
that
right.
group is gonna hold somebody
And
accountable.
they're gonna feed off each other. They're not gonna speak
Yeah,
against the group. They're gonna feed off of the negativity. They're gonna
yeah,
feed off that shit. Trust.
yeah.
Look, Trace. Let
So
me tell you something. I was in that group at one time. Remember the joke? I think it was Robert Townsend was like, "Father, what did it feel like to be a Negro?" Right?
mhm.
I know what it feel like to be a nigga. Right? I know what it feels like to be one of them dudes out there. Damn, baby, you got a fat ass. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, young, immature, the whole 9 yards. Now, when I got with you know, and put it this way, my father taught me better. But the crew, you know, the homies, hey, we was on something different. We was on just some wild shit at the time, right? When you
Did
grow and you
you
mature.
at the time recognize that you were in a group like that? Like, you know that your father had taught you different, right? Um, were you still like in there somewhere? Like, I know this shit ain't cool, or this ain't really me. Like, were you cognizant of the fact that you were taught different than what you were then experiencing with that group?
You know what? You eventually pull back because you get to thinking like, oh damn, you know what? That was fucked up. I didn't mean to say that to her like that. But I have to defend some of the guys out there. You got some women that come at you on some wild shit. It's like,
Mhm.
okay. And the number of times I've overlooked or just walked past and said nothing to a sister when she was just going off on a tangent is more times than I've ever disrespected a woman. And that's just me. I can't
Mhm.
speak on everybody else, but when it comes to my son, his friends, and stuff like that, I'm gonna let him know. I'm gonna say, bro, first of all, you gotta love yourself more than anybody else out here. And you gotta respect yourself more than anybody out here. See, in that way, you're not gonna lead yourself to go out of pocket. You know, you're not gonna, if, you know, I'm gonna teach you how to accept rejection. You ain't gotta cuss a woman out because she rejected you, right? You know, you stank bitch and this and that and the other. No, don't go to that. She didn't want you, and you're not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. Walk away. Or, you know, you have the woman that's slick at the mouth. You know, it's like opening the door for black women. And I'm gonna be honest with you. At this moment in time, when you open the door for a black woman nowadays, it's like, damn, we can't get a thank you or nothing like a smile. But you do it for everybody else damn near. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even the brothers or the men be like, yo, bro, appreciate you opening the door for me. And it's like, okay, I understand what the young lady was saying. Only black men can't call me. Well, maybe that's the only people that's attracted to you. It's not that white men, trust me, I've been into conversations with white men. And the way they describe their women as cunts, douchebags, and all this other shit, it's like, maybe y'all not privy to these conversations or you hear these white men talk, but yo, they shit is wild. You know what I'm saying? And
You
that's
know
why you
what?
have this feminist movement because, hey, they didn't want their women working. We've always needed our women to work because we never had economic control over too much of anything in life.
Mhm.
But as far as holding for as accountability, yeah, your group, you gotta, and I lead by example, right? You know, I've told my son all the wild stuff. I let him know. I'm like, man, yo, I've done a whole bunch of bullshit out there, man, that I would not be proud of to this day. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad I went through that stage of my life because now I can teach you and tell you what not to do. You know, I'm gonna respect everybody that respect me. You come out of pocket with me, I'm gonna come out of pocket with you. I don't care if you man, woman, dog, cat, whatever. I'm coming back at you because I've done the nice guy thing. I'm not doing that no more. You know what I'm saying? You respect me, I'm gonna respect you. And a lot of sisters, unfortunately, have gotten to the point now in our day and time. And see, we understand y'all frustrations, But it seemed like nobody wants to understand our frustrations because day in and day out, it's always niggas ain't this, niggas are dusty, broke,
Now,
crusty.
see, I don't. I'm not around people who have those kinds of conversations about black men. So I guess it depends on where you are in the world. You know, like who you around, because I'm not around people who have those kinds of conversations.
But you know what? Everybody always say they don't know anybody that does it or this and that and the other. And it's like, put it this way, even if it's not women saying, you got pandering ass niggas that say it.
Yeah.
You know, you
And you have white people that say it too. Like white people said it first. Niggas ain't shit. Black men ain't shit. So that black women in the black family could disintegrate. They had to put that narrative out there.
right.
They had to make us believe black men ain't shit so that the black family could dissipate. To weaken the black family nucleus. So I get that. And I think that, some people feel like, yeah, of course, some people feel like black men ain't shit. I just feel like, just based on my experience and this experience of the people that I know, black men need to treat black women better. Black women need to treat black men better. Um, I've been in relationships. In every relationship that I have been in, it has almost been like I'm there's an obligation of me, for the woman to be of service, and less of an obligation for him to be of service or us to be of service to one another. Now, granted, in my younger years, I didn't know to have certain conversations with the men that I was getting into relationships with. There are certain kind of conversations that you have to have before you get into relationships.
Right.
This would alleviate a lot of the issues. Because if I had talked about gender roles in my past relationships, I probably would not have been in most of the relationships that I was in. Um, I firmly believe in partnership. I believe in building together. I don't believe that one person has more authority over another person in a relationship. I believe that if a man has an intellectual capacity and is resourceful enough to lead, then he should. Because I don't be wanting to do shit sometimes, Sherrod. I want to live my soft life. And if my man is in agreement with that, then it's on and popping. I will be the secretary and treasurer and support person of all of his efforts. Um, but sometimes when you ask a man what does he want from his relationship, he gonna describe a fucking slave. And that has been my experience. Like, I want her to cook, clean, suck my dick, all of the things. And it's like, well, yeah. Okay. Well, what else, nigga? Damn. Like, I don't know. So but I do feel like in order for black men to call other black men to the carpet, those black men doing the calling should have the intellectual capacity to do so. Some of these niggas out here don't even know what the fuck accountability means. They not enough to hold another black man accountable. And then there's a lot of misogynistic practice being passed down from generation to generation, from homeboy to homeboy, from uncle to nephew, from brother to brother to brother. A lot of this fucked up ideologies about women are being passed down to younger men from their older whomever. They're getting that shit from somewhere.
They can
They
be
not
getting
just
it.
coming up with this shit.
Let me, because I I used to hang out in the streets for a minute, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of what black men see, especially as black boys, from their mothers, And I'm not, obviously I won't say names, but whatever. So I'm just going to describe it as hanging out. These young boys will see black men, whatever color men, literally, one leave out the house, and these two men had to see each other going just like this as one coming in, right? I've seen where women treat their sons with so much anger. So we talk about misogyny, but we don't talk about misandrist. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of black men that were raised by black women that hate black men. And the
But we
narrative
also have
is
to think
always,
about why, though. Like, how have those black women been impacted in their lives? And I'm not
but
justifying it at all.
but see,
But
that's the cause and effect. Everything has a cause and effect. So, like I said, we want to hold black men accountable. I'm 100%, we should. Because that's what mature, intelligent, compassionate people do. If I saw one of my homies fucking up, I'm calling them to the carpet. That's what we do. Because, bruh, if I didn't love you, I'll let you keep going in the direction you're going, and I'll let you self-destruct.
But to do that, though. What
That's what I'm
about the
saying.
circles where there
But-
is not anybody who
But
knows?
what I'm saying is, we gotta stop this narrative. Okay, we know that there's deadbeats, right? But what we don't talk about, we talk about abandonment, but we don't talk about parental alienation. For those women that have men that want to be a part of their children's lives in a positive, they gotta get the fuck out the way and let this man be what he want to be, right? Let me be this boy's father. We ain't gotta be together. Like I said, we talk about abandonment, but we don't talk about parental alienation, where these men, because I went through it. It was hell just trying to be a father. And I tell my son all the time, fatherhood sucks. It ain't shit. It's some bullshit. It's like, bruh, now you can ding me as saying, oh man, you wasn't a great husband or a great boyfriend or whatever. And shit, somebody I wasn't even with. You know what I'm saying? It's just, hey, I was irresponsible. But guess what? I'll take care of my responsibilities. That's what I do. Flat the fuck out. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, we got to realize that everything ain't always a black man's fault. And I think for me, I can't speak on anybody else, I push back against the narrative that it's always our fault. And it's not. Because I've seen too often where black women get in the way of the process. And I can shoot you video after video all day long, and you can shoot me video, and we can have this whole thing. We got misogynists and we got misandrists, and we have them on both ends. It's just up to the people that's able to view things, with an unbiased lens. That's the only way we're going to correct this issue that we got going on in the black community. Hey, for y'all that hate black women, for y'all that hate black men, leave. Go ahead and swirl. Do what the fuck you want to do. But for those that want to fix the issue, accountability have to be had on both ends. Black men, correct black men. Black women, correct black women. But now we got to get out of our emotions and be able to correct each other. Because I'm quite sure, if you saw me doing some dumb shit, you're going to be like, bruh.
But would you listen, though?
And you know what? I respect you, though. See, that's the thing. I respect you. Now, if you some old run-of-the-mill chicken-head chick that's out there shaking your ass and this and that and the other, you could be right. But I'm looking at your persona and I'm looking at your character. And it's like, as soon as you open your mouth and, you know what I'm saying? So you respect. I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I got a couple females around that I respect them. So if they say, hey, Shry, bruh, come on, man. You going a little bit too hard. All right, I'll cool out for 24 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, we could go black men and black women could go back and forth about what fucked up shit we do to each
Yeah.
other. But ultimately for me, what it boils down to is each person has to do their own self work.
Yep.
You have to be a healthy individual so that it can inform how you show up in the world. Like you got to do your own self work as an individual. You got to make sure you're not a fucking asshole. You got to make sure you're not moving around in ignorance. You got to make sure that you're emotionally mature. You have to make certain that you are living your life in a certain kind of way so that when you show up in the world, you're not it's not to anybody else's detriment. And I think that's for men and women. But the challenge is there are people in the world who don't recognize that they have to do self-work. They just out here just living, just sucking up fucking air
Yeah.
and not contributing in any viable way. So if you're not helping, it's my ideology that if you're not helping, you hurting. If you're not doing your own self work, if you're not pulling yourself to the carpet, if you are not acknowledging the fucked up shit that you think and do, and you out here harming, you out here causing cultural harm. And so I think that everybody is obligated to do that work. I think if everybody does their own self work, eventually we can begin to repair what has happened in our communities. Um, but I think that people have to be willing. They have to be willing to do that work.
You know,
And, everybody isn't willing. And everybody isn't going to be willing.
and that's fine. You know what? What Marcus Garvey say when they asked him, "Are you going to take all black folks to Africa?" No.
No.
The ones that wasn't shit here, they'll be
Ain't
not
be
shit
shit
over
in
there.
Africa.
You know,
Yeah.
and this is the thing, and it's a challenge. It's for both sides. Black women that have men that want to be in the sons and daughters' lives, get out the way. Black men, hey, if you've fathered some children, it's time for you to step up. And not only step up and be a father, but like you said, we got to do some reflection. You got to step up and ask yourself. I remember when I was fighting for custody and all this other crazy stuff, I had to be honest with myself. I had to ask myself one serious question. Why am I fighting? Is it to avoid child support, or is it to actually be a father? Because see, if I'm trying to avoid child support, just say if I win, then that means my mama had the kids because I don't want to be bothered with them. No, my mom got it. She like her grandkids, right?
Mm.
But if I'm gonna be a father, that means I'm gonna have to, okay, boom, this is my week with them. Man, the drinking, the hanging, and all that, they gotta chill because I got my kids. And I had to seriously think about that. And when I told somebody that, it was like, man, that should have been an easy question to ask. No, it's not easy. It's not. When you're young, you're still ripping and running and doing all this other stuff. And you saying, I'm going to cut off the game. And I sat back and I was like, you know what? So long to the game.
And it's a lot of people, that's the real shit. It's a lot of people that's not willing to cut off the game. It's
So,
not, it's a lot of people in the world that, they cherish that lifestyle. They don't want their kids to impede upon their lifestyle.
yep.
So fuck it. I choose the game. And that's why
And,
we got a bunch of ignorant motherfuckers walking around here.
okay, put it this way. You work in a school. You see it on both sides. And it's like when I was working in Head Start and at Finney, and you smell the parents coming in smelling like weed. You mother, father, both of them looking dusty as fuck. The kids backpacks and shit smell like weed. It's like,
Smell
damn,
like
y'all
weed,
can't hold
yeah.
off long enough to get them to school.
They in the car blowing, in the car
So
with the kids. And at the last school that I worked at a an elementary charter school, middle school, elementary
Okay.
school. When it was time for the parents to pick up the kids, when I first started working there, they was like, wait till 3:30. My coworkers, because we had outside duty, we had to go outside, and they was like, you wait till 3:30 when you go outside. And I was like, well, what is it? And they called it something. I forget the term that they called it. Um, so I go outside with my little vest on, and all of the parents pulling up in their cars, and this is middle school, elementary school, so the parents are relatively young. When I tell you the whole block, from the corner to the school entrance, all you smelled was weed. All you
Wow.
smelled was weed. So that means that this what y'all do.
All day, every day.
Y'all drop the kids off smoking weed in the car. Y'all pick the kids up smoking, and they come in the building to get the kids. It's a waft, an air of marijuana from the door to wherever the classroom is. Throughout the hallways in the classroom. Our parents would never. If my parents did do any type of drug, I didn't know.
Right.
If they was smoking weed, I didn't know. I'm sure my parents did shit. I didn't know. But, at some point, there's been a breakdown in the family dynamic. There's been a breakdown in, things that are appropriate to do around your kids. And I know that things are different. You know, yeah, shit is different. But I still believe parents should have a measure of decorum with relation to what they expose their children to.
Right.
Kids gonna be exposed to enough if they live long enough. There are certain things. Now, it's one thing to educate your kids about what happens in the world, but it's a whole other thing to expose them to that thing in real time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
Yep.
have to do it that way. There's a certain way that you do things. And I really feel like the breakdown in the family dynamic is why we are where we are. You know, I you know, the relationship that men, I think there's always been misogyny, and there's gonna always be misogyny, because shit, my grandparents and great grandparents, grandfathers and great grandfathers were misogynistic, because that's just what it was. Women were, especially back in those days, women had to get their husband's permission to do a whole lot of shit. So that's where misogyny was rooted in, right? But it has gone from, but there was still a measure of respect for women. And it has gone from misogyny, just basic misogyny, to now, on top of the misogyny, this whole disrespect component, this whole beat a woman down shit. It's fucked up. And I really feel like that it's all happened because of the breakdown of the family dynamic. I really,
I could,
really
I
do.
can say, I can say that's part of it, but a lot of our problems that people face individually, culturally, the whole 9 yards, we got to look at a lot of things are self-induced, you know, and unfortunately, a, a lot of people can't say, okay, she acts like this, but that doesn't mean she acts like that, right? And when you have, see, all of a sudden now, and it's funny to me because a friend of mine, he and I had a back and forth. He's on the side that women are always right, right? So his thing is, man, y'all be going too hard on the women, do woo 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 woo. All right, let's look at it this way. Nobody got fed up with this back and forth until it became a back and forth. Because I didn't start off on the internet. I thought when Facebook was first created and all this other stuff, I thought this shit was for kids. I ain't know older people was on this shit the whole 9 yards. When I got on, I'm like, okay, boom. I had my virgin eyes and ears on as far as it goes. And so I'm like, man, black women are this, and that, and the other. Then I'm starting looking like, whoa, hold on. I'm big up in y'all. You attacking me? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hold on. So I said, you know what? I'm going to change my perspective, because when I spoke highly of black women and said nothing, even though I got attacked by black women, everybody was cool with oh man, look at me. But as soon as you say, you know what? Fuck that. You push back. Now everybody's all of a sudden, and I had to tell my man, I said, now all of a sudden y'all niggas are tired of the back and forth. I said, but when it was just men ain't shit, we abandoned children, we this, all the negative things was spewed towards us. I said, bruh, are you subconsciously trying to protect your mother, aunties, cousins, all the females in your family because you couldn't do it before? So are you subconsciously doing it now? Because all women aren't correct. All men aren't bad, and vice versa. We got to look at things individually and say, okay, he was wrong for what he said. Okay, she was wrong for what she said. She was right. We don't look at it that way. In the black community, it's basically one way. It's women are right, men are wrong. And for me, I'll never accept that. I'm not going to just respect a woman because she's a woman. And this whole logic of, women have children. All women can't have children. So should I disrespect the ones that can't? When I use logic to these people.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
For me is, you get respect from me automatically until you lose it. So any human being, I'm going to grant you respect until you lose it. If you do something that allows me to say, oh, no, fuck that, then yeah. But if you show up in my orbit, then yeah, you're going to get all the respect from me until I feel like you don't deserve it anymore. When you show me that you're not worthy of respect, that's when I retreat. That's when I withdraw my respect for a person. But I can't look at a person just by looking at them and say, I'm not going to respect you because you look like this or you act like that. It really depends for me on how they handle me, or what their actions display when we are in each other's presence.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you got it.
Yeah. I tend to, you serve me, I'm going to serve the ball back to you the way you serve me. And it doesn't make a difference. Hey, if you a dude, you come smart at everybody, nigga, I'm in your grill. I'm going to give y'all all equality. You cool with me? I'm cool with you. As a matter of fact, I try to steer away from all types of any and everything that's negative. I try to.
Yes, me too. Yes.
But you know what? I also know I can get back into my nigga bag if I need to and come at you, however it may be. And that's the one thing that I've got a friend of mine, you know, she was talking about, well, how come men do this? I don't know why they do anything. I don't know the niggas you talking about. I can only tell you about me and what I do and how I handle my dudes around me. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I got some dudes that run through females? Of course I do. Hell, I used to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't find that, oh, that's disrespectful. No, it ain't. Because a lot of times they know they're getting ran through. They know that. So, am I supposed to, hey, bro, it's time for you to get married, bro? Nah. Like he said, I pay for it. I pay to leave. You know what I'm saying? I don't pay for, the sex. I pay to leave. So I'm not going to correct him on that. Hey, he treat them how they, I guess, act. You selling ass? All I'm buying is the ass? Get the fuck on, right? Now, when you come, now, if I see you got a nice woman, a respectable woman, the whole 9 yards and this and that and the other, and you fucking up, you go like, oh, come on, bro, you got to do better than that. Come on, man. She do X, Y, and Z for you, man. Or at least let her go and let somebody else have her. So,
Right. Yeah.
like I said, I can only tell you how I govern myself. I'm not I'm not gonna tell and the guys around me. And for those that see me and don't know me, I walk and move a certain way and I lead by example. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm nice to everybody. You nice to me, I'm nice to you. You don't speak to me, I don't speak to you. I keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So it's this thing of are we really are we really trying to fix the whole problem and correct everybody? Or are we just trying to say, hey, black men, you're the problem. And if that's the case, we got to go with the cause and effect and say, well, why is he like that? Are we willing to dig deeper, or are we just going to keep it surface and say, all black men are misogynists? Like, okay, but there's a word called misandry. There's that word. There's a lot of women that mistreat their sons. And right now, I can point out 5. Hell, I know one of them that spent their son's scholarship money, and he couldn't even go to school. So it's
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure we all got stories to tell.
and
You know
and
what I
that's the
mean?
thing.
It's
Let's just not focus on one side of the narrative. Let's be brave enough to talk about the whole story. Let's just not say all women, all men. We fucked this community up together. We didn't do it, just men didn't do it by ourselves. Men and women fucked this community up because we allowed people to infiltrate our community and destroy it. They destroyed our minds first. You know, they destroyed our minds. Then they destroyed us financially. It was a systematic breakdown of us, but it wasn't just one side. It's us as a whole. And it's going to take us as a whole to fix this whole thing. It's not just a, hey, we fixed the black man, we fix everything. Nah,
yeah, that's
we got some
true.
fucked up people, men and women. I mean, men and
Yes.
women.
All right, y'all. So what y'all think? Tell us, like, does anybody have the answer? Um, do y'all think that black men treat black women fucked up? Do y'all think that black men are responsible for holding other black men accountable for how they show up in the world? And what does that look like? Um, do you think, you know, black women play a part in that? So put it in the comments. If you got something deeper or a long diatribe, email it to virgoverdict@gmail.com. And until next time, oh, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.